last match of the day begins now.
No time left to lose. Only one gets to advance. A team that's looking hot, but a
That's right.
underdog. Turtle, what do you think?
Ooh, I think we're in line on course for a 6-game series. If I had to put, estimation out here, a prediction here. I think that for the most part, OpTic Gaming looked pretty great. And struggled a little bit here and there on the offensive side. I was impressed with their defense, but it kind of felt like the same issue that we saw with Space Station Gaming against Gen G, where Space Station couldn't convert. They were generating opportunities, but when the time was right to strike, they failed a lot. And they picked that up in the previous series. Space Station Gaming looked fantastic. Now we'll see if OpTic can improve on that aspect.
We'll see if G2 can contain the mechanical beast that is AJ as well. It's kind of his first look here, moving on offense. Not the best control, but either way, OpTic not really on offense. It's kind of just fighting for the ball at the moment. Down the middle, Atomic back in time as G2 sizing up the counterattack. Chicago noticing the space and will take it. Hard cut towards the net. AJ ready for it. G2 starting to get the camp set up in the midfield.
I definitely think that Chicago's the name we're going to be hearing a lot. Two players from OpTic, but Atomic coming down like a guardian angel from the heavens and somehow bats that ball away. We had 2 players commit on it from OpTic, but still no goal. And interrupt me as I was talking about Chicago. I think he's going to be a player who, of course, when you mention G2, you have to talk about Chicago. And he stepped up against Shopify, their most recent series, getting, a nice quick 3-0, and Chicago had 11 shots, 5 goals, and 4 assists.
Ooh.
And now he's looking for his first one in this series, almost stepping up with a solo play.
Almost a beautiful delivery. Unfortunately, just got away from him right at the end. As OpTic, I think they're lucky stars that one wasn't in the back. Chicago doing a lot of heavy work, and a nice block from Reynolds to finally break that G2 grip, and still not going to score. Back in time again. Chicago getting it done on both sides of the pitch. JNaps with Atomic, sizing up Reynolds, and look at him just play that one. He says, come at me, I'm going to dodge you, still make the play. Great stop.
You got to keep your composure on the line, but Atomic still ended up demoing Magic Bear, as he does recover quite smoothly and carries it out by himself. Reynolds up early. I think G2 have been at least hunting for that first goal and held a lot of the pressure. JNaps has to do something in the corner. I think this is mostly what I expected. A lot of pressure from G2, and it's up to OpTic to find the transitions.
And they've definitely had a couple of good opportunities to at least reset things, but it kind of feels out of nowhere that grip kind of getting lost. Could be an issue with boost. Could be something else. Requires a bit more thought, but one way or the other, you're absolutely right. It's G2 pressing more often than not. They're not done quite yet. Dished out to Atomic on the sidewall. AJ just trying to keep things close. Freezes Chicago and ties him up in a knot in the sidewall as well. Nice follow-up from Reynolds. Now it's really on OpTic to say, okay, we're in the orange half and we're going to stay there.
Yeah, I mean, they have opportunities to catch G2, pushing a little bit too far forward. There's been moments in space like this for Reynolds, but what does he do with it? That's the question. He goes off the sidewall and can't follow up on it. That's an opportunity that you need to generate. And unfortunately for OpTic, they have to go back to the drawing board.
Do keep pretty clean possession. JNaps really just trying to buy a little time there to let the defense sort itself out in terms of its position. Magic Bear pulls off the ball, and it may backfire here. Reynolds able to get to it fairly cleanly, but they're not out of the woods yet. Atomic floater towards the back corner, and no problem for AJ as that shot not as much heat as you would have thought. Again, Chicago's carving up defenders.
He's not
into the middle, and there's JNaps. Oh my goodness.
I don't even understand how he stayed behind this ball. He got bumped into it, actually. I think AJ was behind him, pushed Chicago forward, and then that was how G2 kept the ball rolling across and held that possession. A bit of a fortunate play, but Chicago, he got that opportunity and made it work.
Yeah, you make the most out of it. Like you said, he did get bumped into it, and he says, okay, I'm not dead. This play's still alive.
And a lot of times you'll wiggle with your car. I mean, if you're getting bumped, you're usually going to be off your line. So fortunate for G2.
Great job to keep things in play as Atomic. Gonna just poke that ball away from Magic Bear, and got to be careful here. A little bit of physicality coming out from OpTic, laying it down and hoping Reddles was going to turn for it, but he went all the way back to the midfield boost. Now they kind of got to stretch to keep this one in the orange half. AJ's really sizing it up. He wanted to. You could feel him kind of looking from the midfield line, but he's like, that's not it. We've got a little more time to work with. No sense in doing something we might regret. For something a little more concrete. That bump may be it, but Reddles one step too far behind the play.
Oh, at this point, it looks like that physical game might be what opens up the gates for OpTic. You heard Arsenal talk about Reddles and how frustrating he can be to play against, but the timing has not been there for OpTic Gaming on the physical demos. 10 seconds remaining. You've got to make a march downfield. Reddles getting caught up with another player from G2. 3 seconds. Keep this ball alive. You only got to get one goal, but can you find a transition? That's the question. Ball still floating. JNAPS
only touch.
Really doing a great job under it. And at this point, G2, you just got to smack it down and kill this ball.
OpTic is really, really stretching, and finally it just gets too far away from him. Magic Bear was the only one in position to make any type of play on that ball in his own half, and just had no boost to get the job done, was hoping someone was going to come back and bail him out, and eventually G2, the advantage of not having to make something happen, kind of just fall back, let that one fall in their laps, and get it to the floor. So a lot closer than I was perhaps expecting, but in terms of the shot differential, definitely favoring G2 to a not significant, but definitely comfortable lead with 8 shots to 5 for OpTic.
Yeah. I mean, it's still somewhat reminiscent on that previous series for OpTic against Complexity. I thought that they had good opportunities, good chances moving down the other side. Transitions looked pretty clean, but they weren't able to punish or even make use of those opportunities, which is why I was talking about Space Station Gaming earlier. You toss that ball up, or maybe you get a demo. It seems like the timing on the rotations just isn't in sync. They're not all on the same page quite yet, but that was just the first game. There's plenty of series to go, Chiefs.
Yes, definitely a firm grip established early for G2. We'll see if OpTic, and the biggest thing I think is just going to be, they may have to be willing to take a few more risks as well. Kind of take somebody out of rotation on defense, leave them in that 2-on-3, 2-on-2 area, and go try and take away some boost in the midfield or something like that. May have to go all the way down to the other side, who knows, but it just feels like you want to make sure that someone has something in the tank to make a play and kind of really break that pressure from G2, and may have to be willing to incur a little extra risk to do that.
And it doesn't feel like G2 are trying to play awfully fast at this moment. I don't know. I'm not getting a sense of urgency from them, which I think has helped keep composure. I mean, look at Atomic on the backboard. He could have banged that. He could have gone for a big clear, but he's just calmly air dribbling it out. And it's small little plays like that that allow G2 to stay on the offensive half and at least collect more boost and keep tight rotations.
Kind of awkward to handle here, though, and AJ just able to get the bumper on it, keep that one in the blue half, but Reddles having to come from a little bit further distance than they would like. Magic Bear, where do you go with it? Right at the net. Actually a very awkward pace to handle for Chicago, and did a great job to actually get that one to safety, and it's actually kind of handcuffed G2 here. They don't have a good line on some of these approaches to the ball, but JNAPS is trying to make it happen, and AJ says, get out of here. Nice try.
Oh, man. Reliving his younger days. I was getting some flashbacks a couple seasons ago. JNAPS coming out with the Megs, and it still looks pretty collected from G2. They're recognizing when they have space, but it's not a risky approach from AJ. This man just bulldozes through all of the defense.
He's really just playing backside support there, and
oh my goodness,
just boos right back towards the ball. I don't think anyone expected him to actually try and stick with that. He says, yeah, I'm still here. We're in the net.
Some unpredictability, and that's what's needed for OpTic Gaming. G2 looked way too comfortable. AJ is here to disrupt all of that, and he's also the solo player Arsenal mentioned. It's always fun to hear him talk about him and his predictions, but with an opportunity, a gap in the defense like that, G2, they're going to make you pay.
Look at Chicago here. He's just waiting for this ball to come back out, is when he sees AJ at the top of the net.
Yeah.
He says, cool, you're stuck on the backboard like that. Getting down to the floor is real tough, and to make it worse, he kept it kind of near post side as well. Makes that line very awkward to take, and of course, Atomic just the cherry on the
this
little
could be
kitchen
it.
of the net. And they do not keep it out. The kickoff favors OpTic Gaming 2-1.
I saw this one from a mile away. It was very confusing. Atomic didn't assume Magic Bear could get an early touch, and then everybody cascading in on themselves from G2 after that kickoff. I think that all comes down to the read Atomic made behind Magic Bear. Good response, and that's a great way to get back into the game after conceding.
Kickoffs, they happen sparingly enough, so you'll take them when you got them. Now it's really just OpTic. How do you hold on to a lead? 3 minutes is a long time to go, considering that overall, Chicago's, in general, his general field presence has put a lot of pressure on you in terms of possession. But now you have the lead. Can you make that sort of impact be lessened to a certain extent?
I mean, to be honest, game 2 feels a lot different from game 1 in terms of possession. G2 have had little bursts of aggression here and there, but not long extended plays, and that might have been the first one where there were a couple of passes connected, and we're seeing more aggression from G2 now that they're trailing. They've got to put something forward and get aggressive. On the goal line, 3 players in the net, one
Can
save,
they score it, though? I don't
and they
think
get
so.
out of it. I think they can get this angle. Magic Bear over to AJ, trying to go off the backboard. Won't find it. And back we go to G2.
See that ball kind of... Oh, no! Okay. I was about to say, don't tell me we're about to see another own goal. Here's a demo on the goal line. Chicago floats one out to his opposite corner just to buy a little time. Magic Bear turning the G2 half into a graveyard. Thankfully, everyone going to respawn, and Atomic almost able to carve his way through a couple defenders, but not kidding, in terms of different possession, the ball definitely spending a pretty significant amount of time over on that G2 side. It's really just a matter of how threatening have some of these OpTic chances been. And at the end of the day, you're keeping G2 back there, you're doing something right.
Oh, Magic Bear, he could extend this lead, and he does. A solo play, a little mind game, which we've been seeing a lot today. I mean, think back to Complexity and Razebull hitting him with it. And now look at him go. Saves the dodge, goes to the right side of the ball, makes Atomic hit it first, and squeezes it into the back of the net.
I think everyone on G2 kind of looking on Magic Bear catch that ball, and they probably thought he was just going to try and get that on top of his car and flick it top left, but...
I mean, honestly, if he had boost, I think he would have tried that opportunity.
Exactly.
It almost benefited him with that low boost.
He just had 0, and they all just went to the opposite side. Now they just missed the ball, and Reddle scores 4. Okay.
Oh, no. Not the G2 kickoffs. This has not been a good sign from them. Reddle's
crushed it.
Nice little dunk. And that's another play where G2 falling apart here and there. I'm not really sure what happened. Game 1 seemed very comfortable. Yeah.
I mean, game 2, it hasn't looked uncomfortable, per se. It's kind of been weird. Chilling on defense.
I feel uncomfortable in this series. I don't know why. It's been such a slow
it's
pace.
Unsettling.
Yeah, there's been like this weird, awkward change of pace in this series alone. Where, I mean, look at the goals we're getting. I don't know what's happening.
So like, what is this? Comes out of nowhere. AJ, right idea, wants to take it on the dribble. You can see it. He tries to do 2 things at once, though, right? He wants the boost and the dribble. And he ends up giving away the ball to go grab the boost, and JNAP's just called him on it. It was right towards net. Cut the lead down to 2, just under a minute. Again, kind of similar scenarios in some of the games we've had earlier today. It's doable, but it requires perfection. See if G2 can make something like that happen, pass behind Atomic, and that'll waste a few seconds off the clock.
That's got to be a sign of where G2 are right now.
Oh, they're going
to not connecting. Are they though? Magic Bear, he can't get it, and I mean, there's a chance. 36 seconds on the clock achieves.
It doesn't matter that the pass was behind him, because as you can see, JNAP's got the protractor out and says, look at this shot off the corner. He called bank, and it's in.
They missed the pass in the midfield, and you just whip it out. Whip out the protractor.
you just get the job done regardless.
Yeah.
It's all right. Oh, but the dish back.
What are these kickoffs? Oh, jeez. Please, man, these G2 kickoffs. I can't stand this right now. It's Atomic again. He doesn't know what's happening. The ball is going pinball left and right. And we have a bad sheet from the G2 half.
Atomic, he actually went out to the right side corner boost. So he went to the same side that the ball went, but he just totally committed to the idea that Magic Bear was going to continue out to his right and get that midfield boost. Didn't even think that Magic Bear would stop and just kick that ball back middle. And unfortunately, that takes away any sense of a comeback happening here in game 2.
I mean, I thought it was happening. I really thought it was happening. I'm not going to lie. It looked shaky from OpTic.
It felt like it, right?
Yeah, but nope. The kickoff's going to smack him right back down. OpTic Gaming as confident as ever in this long best of 7, and more specifically game 2. And I mean, first of all, you know, we got to talk about the kickoffs. We got to fix these kickoffs, Chiefs. Okay, that's rule number one, plan number one for G2. Other than that, I mean, what else are you noticing from them that I think you think, excuse me, needs to be improved on going into the next game?
Well, you know, again,
putting the spotlight on you.
I think you put it the right way early on in this game. It was very comfortable from G2. You know, it doesn't feel like they're having to press really hard. And that's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because G2 is a team that, you know, really thrives on a lot of chaos and has really good, you know, short-range passing and awareness. And if they can constrict a defense, they can move that ball and really make you hurt. But, you know, they don't really feel like they have to do that against OpTic, right? And that's kind of why it feels a little more smooth and not like press, jam it as hard as we can and see what happens. And, you know, just rely on that individual decision-making to come to the forefront that you have in players like OpTic and Chicago. And JNAPS just comes through to drop the hammer, right? They don't really feel like they have to do that to beat a team like OpTic. So that kind of means that, sure, they're not making like these big, like, we've overcommitted and now they just score an open net that sometimes G2 gets known for. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like there's that bite to that G2 offense.
Right,
it's just G2 betting on the fact that they are across the board better at a baseline level that's saying you're going to mess up more than we will.
Right.
And so it's like, I don't know if OpTic really needs to change anything, and I don't necessarily think G2 needs to change anything. It's just in that game 2, OpTic said, yeah, we didn't make any mistakes. We won the challenges, and since you weren't playing as aggressively or as mechanically demanding as you normally do, you just get beat every now and then.
I think the main thing for G2 is playing with a sense of urgency. Chicago slow on the back line. Does get the save bailout from JNAPS, and I just want to see them move with a bit of a faster tempo, more upbeat as they transition. I've seen a lot of dribbles, and while I respect the dribbles and love that patience, there's just too much space, and Reddles from the corner by himself off that challenge.
Oh.
One little touch to himself, and then gets a nasty angle.
It was a nasty angle, but I'm trying to figure out if G2 got bumped out of their own net, because 2 of them just like flipped out towards the midfield, like as that ball was headed to the corner. So I'm trying to piece that one together again in my mind to figure out where they both went, because I feel like there should not have been that much space there.
Yeah, I mean, it was just an awkward play in general. Why does Reynolds have that space in the corner? Nobody's challenging him. We've got somebody in the net, but could have been a potential team bump. Either way, the defense out of G2 is dismantling, and this is another play stemming from the corner. You're going across, trying to carry it out of your own side, and you've got a good challenge, like you mentioned. Misread the bounce, and hello, AJ.
Yeah, exactly, because the thing about it is JNAPS realized he had the wrong timing on it, right? You saw him cut left and they go, hang on, this one's going the other way. And at that point, AJ knows there's only one direction that ball's going. No matter how much JNAPS wants to move that ball a different way, you can't help it. And so AJ, he's positioned right. He's got good timing. And it's OpTic kind of saying, hey, G2, are you sure that you're better than us on a baseline level? Because
there it is.
That's in a row, and OpTic says, hang on. You're not getting away that easy.
We were waiting for this all series long, this transition with speed and pace behind the ball. JNAPS sniffs out, of course, OpTic waiting downfield, and instead of keeping it to himself, going for a slower transition, he just bangs it to the other side and catches everybody from OpTic Gaming too far forward.
Ooh, and everyone spreads out. There's all that space again. Chicago quick to close it down, but...
Oh, there's a lot of space for JNAPS. What's he going to do with it? Oh, he went for the pass. He saw that coming out. That looked good.
It looked real good, and it looked better defensively to even pick that one off and say, hang on, we can't let that one get through.
I'm surprised they even read that. I mean, I'm assuming JNAPS is going for a shot with that power off the sidewall. OpTic Gaming, and some solid defense even after conceding.
Great job from Chicago there, maneuvering around, preventing the demo, and still maintaining influence over the ball. Awkward play for Magic Bear, and if you're OpTic, I don't think you want to get married to the idea of the push here.
Well, you've got 2 players taking out the goalkeeper. It almost worked. 2 of OpTic's members were just looking at the goalkeeper. I think it was Chicago in the net. And this is a terrifying sight for G2. He's getting suffocated now. No boost. Chicago's name. Magic Bear over him. Looking to pass in the midfield. And right now, OpTic are
The OpTic's
setting
playing
up.
like you want G2 to play.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
They're getting right up in their face, taking the corner boost, saying, hang on, you got to make something happen. Ooh, but that's a big awkward miss from Reddles. It's going to buy too much time, and indeed, there goes JNAPS to cut it off. Slow floater to open space, but Atomic
That's to nobody.
didn't really take all that much time with the ball and kind of just let OpTic get reset there in the midfield with kind of just a dump away.
I think G2 are getting uncomfortable with how often OpTic will randomly hit the brakes. I mean, we'll see moments where they push everybody forward, and now we'll see oopsies like this.
Magic Bear. He's the third man. He is defending the midfield. He gets caught with a hand in the cookie jar. One step too far forward, and JNAPS just goes and picks it off, says thank you.
Not the hand of the cookie jar. That's the last thing you want if you're OpTic Gaming. It was, you know, I actually thought it was a good back pass. My initial brain was like, oh, that's genius.
Someone's back there, yeah.
Hey, he's a genius. So it just didn't work out for Magic.
Meanwhile, Reddle's driving back like, dude, what the heck?
What? Now Chicago's falling on the ball. This has been one of the weirdest series. I don't even know what's going on. I feel like most of the time the pace of play is changing. Whether it's one team like G2 not acquiring any boosts or failing to move out of their own half with speed, or OpTic Gaming pushing too far forward. Just never know what's going to happen with these two teams right now.
Attempted long pass from G2, and honestly, I think that's the biggest thing I want to see from G2. I want to see him really start to try and bring this ball down on the dribble, because that's really what OpTic's going for right now. Any chance they get, they say stick it close. And see, I don't like that. I don't get that touch from Atomic. I don't get why you wouldn't just trap that, start the dribble, and take the space and fall almost into the net either way. But I just feel like the general approach of clang the ball may not be the number one choice at the moment.
Well, which is wild, because previously it was all they ever did was just control the ball and not move out, like I mentioned, with a sense of urgency. But a couple of times they do clang the ball. It's here. It's to nobody. It's given right into the hands of OpTic Gaming, who now have opportunities to create something. And all three members are in position. Let's see what they do.
Magic Bear, excellent challenge through one. Through two, sets up AJ, looks for space on the backboard to maybe find a double tap, and JNAPS just able to clear it out. Excellent challenge from him, manipulating the space there. Get G2 out of a spot in their corner with 15 seconds left. Tied up, looking at overtime, despite honestly a bit of a shaky game two from G2. They
it might end
on
here.
The brink of
Might
overtime.
end.
There's a demo and great support from Chicago. He knew this one was going to need a little bit of help. Don't take your chances there. Just get up there and take it away, and they will find themselves in overtime a chance to reset.
Yeah, Chicago, the backbone of the defense in the final moments. I thought it was over, to be honest. The communication must have been spot on. Atomic doesn't do it by himself. AJ, good challenge early on. We'll see how this OT shifts the play style of both teams. Nice little mental reset for both sides.
Magic Bear, flip reset, gets the air dribble bump. Does the smoke screen help? Not this time. JNAPS driving right through and looking for Chicago, as now Chicago will drive forward, look for some interference on the goal line. Excellent catch from Magic Bear to keep that one tight and prevent Atomic from coming in and building up that pressure for the G2 attack, but OpTic flubbed the ball. Atomic floater into the middle. There's JNAPS is coming as third man, and Reynolds is just in time. Atomic wants to keep this one in the mix. G2 pressing hard, and JNAPS says, hang on, I don't have the boost. I got to give it up. Let Chicago come through, try and make something happen. Now he's ready. Off the post and out. G2 not going to close it out.
Oh, poor JNAPS. He's gotten so many opportunities. A lot of it
number
was
three.
starting from Atomic. Number 3. Keep the ball in rotation. The pressure relentless out of G2. And look at Chicago continue his mark. Oh my goodness, how did he keep going?
He just turned around, and I'm amazed that his brain says, hang on, rotate the nose upward.
Yeah, wow.
If we delay the touch by this much, it ends up going mid. That was a Galaxy Brain challenge from Chicago.
I need to see that Mobile 1 high performance replay, because Mans was falling from the ceiling, and I think he was turned around whenever he was falling onto the challenge, then might have used his flip last second. That was just one of the weirdest OT winners I think we could have gotten. But for G2, they say, hey, I'll take this for sure.
And you got to be more impressed that, G2, after JNAPS hits that one off the post, that they don't just kind of all, reset
Here we go.
and realize, So
Okay,
there,
so
yeah, he comes late. See, he turns his car backwards and uses that flip late.
But no, he didn't even use the flip to win the challenge, though. It looked like he got the dunk and then flipped after. No, I don't even think he went into the challenge. He's like, I don't need my flip. I'm just using the stealing to get into position. That was ridiculous stuff from Chicago. I guess you know, when you're this good, you don't need those resets, Chiefs.
That's why there are two big factors of
I'm listening.
challenges.
Okay.
Timing
in session
is one, and angles is the other. And you know, as long as you have good timing, you can have pretty much any angle because the people behind you can figure it out. They can reposition and whatever. But if your timing is poor, doesn't matter if you have the best angle lined up to dish that ball directly to your teammate. Chicago says timing is king. Displayed it to perfection there on that challenge to get that one out to JNaps. Close out game 3, give themselves the lead. And honestly, that's another game where this is why we say some of the best teams in the world, they win the games where they're really not playing their best. They were not the team in the driver's seat in that game 3, and yet they end up winning.
Absolutely not. They did actually pick up on the kickoffs, which I didn't mention too much. I was harping on them for that, but clean kickoffs. And you're right, I think that OpTic Gaming in that game at least were in the driver's seat almost the entire time. A whole 5 minutes. Once we got to the OT, things shifted slightly. But OpTic Gaming had every tool in the toolbox to work with and to take down G2, but they kept moving forward. And you mentioned it too. The ability to hold pressure, even if you're missing shots, you can keep flooding that ball into the midfield, and they do it again. Chicago rotating back. Now he's up for the air off the corner, doesn't find it, and gives free space to AJ. What's he gonna do? Maybe a flip reset. Opts to go for a 50-50, and things stalemate here as we try to kick off game number 4.
And they just keep that pace going as well. I mean, you can see JNaps right there. He just took that ball up the wall, air dribbled it, and he wasn't even thinking about how to beat defenders. He's just going as fast as he could, up the field as loudly as he could, just to force OpTic Gaming to kind of wait on him and let his teammates get set.
Oh, okay. That's a double commit. This is going to be a lot of responsibility for Atomic to handle AJ and Reddles, who was looking for a bump, but he did just fine. Huge stance there from Atomic to keep his team all tied up.
What do you do here? Fortunately, the ball kicking a little bit too far away from OpTic. Still trying to regain that sense of control that they had previously, and that's a huge bump
Atomic
from Chicago.
win.
But there's AJ, and JNaps tries. He will not be denied. AJ scores again.
Oh, and you feel for the defensive guru Atomic. That was a double commit. Otherwise, Atomic would have been able to challenge after the backboard. Communication kind of disrupted there. And OpTic Gaming striking first, and a really well-placed shot, too, from AJ.
What do you do if you're G2? Oh, you're going to give up 2. That's what's going to happen. Reddles absolutely blows Atomic out of the water here. Says, hang on, let me open the door as wide as possible.
And I don't think he would have gotten there if he didn't pick up that small pad off the kickoff.
Yeah.
Really good movement and the position after the kickoff. You pick up that pad, hunt down the third man, and get yourself yet another kickoff goal.
Chicago looking for a little bit of help. G2 may actually find themselves in a pretty good position here. Naps, floater towards net, Atomic in position. Nasty hop, though, kind of kills a little bit of that, but they figure it out. Little fake from Atomic. Chicago, actually a really nice idea to take that on a slow air dribble, try and handcuff the defenders with that change up and pace. But OpTic, they figure it out nicely. Get that ball reset to a neutral spot.
Oh, but it does look like G2 are finding each other more. Every touch has been to one of their own players. Atomic is harassing AJ off the backboard, but the third man, JNaps, got demoed. He would have been there for the shot. Huge physical push from OpTic Gaming, and they've got to get a save. Reddles off the crossbar, reads it well, and they still got their security 2-0.
Great composure from Reddles. You kind of see a shot like that. You know it's like coming at you. You know there's a shot coming, but you see it placed like that. You kind of always second guess your positioning of, hang on, is that off the bar and do I have to hit it? But Reddles, he made a tough save look very easy right there.
And Reddles is honestly just chasing the ball, pushing downfield, and as he rotates out, tries to hunt down a demo, looking to get physical. Here he is again. He was looking to take out JNaps. It's the same rotation for this player, and it's worked wonders for these guys as it's opening space. Magic Bear denied by JNabs. Narrowly misses that, and off the post, they've got to try and keep it back into the midfield to maybe get another chance at that third goal.
You got to get something started soon here. If you're G2, time already running out quickly. Just over a minute left. You need 2 still. Unfortunately, G2.
Oh, this is another demo. This is
another demo. Atomic can't make the read. Reynolds says, hang on.
Oh,
you can only do that if you're in the net. I mean, Atomic, it's a lot harder coming the other way.
The fact that Reynolds trusts his teammates so much to just abandon ship, go all the way to the other side, take a full boost, then rotate all the way back in, and demos the last man. And that's all he's been doing, Chase. I've been on his camera the entire game. It's ridiculous.
You gotta take some risks.
He's going in.
You have to be willing to let your teammates handle the other 2, and you gotta be able to go out there, take a risk, find a boost, open up a little bit of space, because as soon as that boost in the midfield isn't there or something like that, that's where the ball's gotta go for the defense. And OpTic Gaming, they've been making it work, and it has not been easy, but they've done it.
That's really been denying so much of the solo plays, and as I mentioned, the solo plays, here comes Chicago by himself. I think it bounced off an OpTic Gaming member, but that's still one he's going to be proud to take.
Man, yeah, even if that doesn't go in, you can just be proud of the carry itself. Really had to manipulate his car around the defender and get in position to even get that one anywhere towards the net. Great bit of shooting. They may actually get 2 right here if this kickoff goes their way. Floater, no dunks for Chicago, and with that, very likely the end of this game. Nice demo, but is there enough time? I don't think so.
Oh man, another
that will definitely.
He just doesn't stop. Reynolds is a madman. You know, we always talk about Reynolds demoing, but this feels like it's on another level. This feels personal from the man as he's constantly cutting in rotation. And I think it's so important for every single team to have a player like that who can be the disruptor. The ball smacks against the ground. OpTic Gaming fight back and tie up the series 2-2. The question is now, do we get some kind of timeout, or is it too early for that, Chiefs?
You know, finally,
are we trying to cool Reynolds off? Like, do we got to make this man calm down?
Yeah, that's the question. It's kind of, do you feel like, again, do I really think that G2 have to make like a gameplay change? I actually may start to think about it, you know, because this is a couple games in a row now where you're just really getting hard pressed and giving up some early leads, and it's really not a overall winning strategy. So I wouldn't say I'm necessarily that worried about cooling off Reynolds as I am, hang on, we need to revamp how we approach the game here, because that's 2 in a row that haven't really gone the way we want them to.
It feels like G2 aren't playing at the pace they need to. I don't know how to explain it any better than that. I mean, simply put, they aren't putting their foot down on the gas and trying to zoom through OpTic Gaming, because for the most part, they're getting taken out, and it's almost too easy for them to get demoed. The third man is always stationary, not moving in rotation. They're not moving the ball too quickly down the field, and when they do, it's a boom to nobody. Things need to get picked up on the side of G2. I think that OpTic Gaming have definitely gotten the best out of them. Out of all 4 games that we've seen, regardless of the tide of scoreline, this feels like OpTic's game to win now.
Really nice job there from JNabs. Getting up nice and early just to force AJ to do something with that ball and make it as easy as possible. Atomic just wants to drive it towards the net, and it's got the pace to get the job done.
Well, there we go, Atomic to himself. It's not a booming clear. He kept it up, kept it high, but was right behind it the entire way. And he just cradled it in, took care of the ball all by himself, a single parent, and let it drop in.
I didn't think there was any way that he was going to get through that defense. I thought that was going to be just a little too slow, and now he does the same thing again, and AJ in time the second go around.
Let the man cook, Chiefs, all right? He doesn't need anybody else.
That's what I need to learn. Just let Atomic cook. Good things happen.
There you go. There you go.
He's figuring it out here in the midfield. Nice pass off the wall. Forces AJ to go at an awkward angle, and he almost recovered that one.
Ooh.
That's what makes AJ an incredibly lethal player. Hard shot just off the bar. Chicago will be denied a second opportunity as G2 have to give a little bit of ground to grab some boost.
This is a lot better from G2. Chicago would get aggressive and take the corner boost, and here he is extending that rotation forward. I like this aggression. I like the speed that they're moving throughout the field. And now by himself, Chicago crossbarring down. Another painful one to give away, but you've already got the lead, so just keep trying at this OpTic Gaming defense.
Ooh, JNAP's through two. Can he beat AJ? No, it finally gets away from him right at the end. Magic Bear pokes one out to the corner. Riddles actually ends up giving up the boost to secure the ball, and nice back pass from Atomic, but quickly the space closed down. Reapproach from G2 hard off the backboard, forcing AJ into a tough position. Look at him go, man, AJ. That movement, that control, such an asset right now for the defense of OpTic.
Oh, good speed from Riddles. Didn't get a piece of the ball, but certainly got a piece of G2, taking out JNAPs. It should be a free clear. Let's see what he does with it. Looking for a potential flip reset, but it's going to be an awkward challenge. And E2, they've got things figured out for the most part in the first half. But Magic Bear, he's starting us out with the demos now. Maybe the physical game comes back.
Atomic. The guy is really starting to drive around full speed as much as he can on the pitch.
I think that's what they need. That's what they need.
He's trying.
I mean, they just need somebody to play that role. It's the same thing that Riddles is doing. Who's the disruptor? Who's the aggressor? Can't have everybody just push forward. That's exactly why we're seeing mostly Riddles do that. And it looks like Atomic is taking that role, and he's proud of it.
Awkward approach here for Chicago to handle. A couple players right on top of each other, and again, another nice challenge straight out into the neutral territory. Riddle sneaks one through the midfield line. Do they find a bump here on Magic Bear? He's just able to squeak through, but it leaves the ball for Chicago. And
what is going on?
From Magic Bear, totally landing right under him, taking away all sense of control from the guy. And Atomic actually comes back up with the ball, and G2 hang on to it.
Not a lot of moments where we'll see 4 cars in the same spot and the ball is still going like 5 miles per hour. Awkward moment for both of them. But I think the pressure was mostly added and applied to the G2 defense, who stood tall and answered challenge. Magic Bear, solo play to get it out. The corners haven't been as effective for OpTic Gaming and can't seem to create opportunities. And as I say that, it's a bump on JNAPs that almost opened things up.
Really liking Magic Bear's approach to the challenge game right now. He's not scared at all by seeing, you know, a player like Atomic or JNAPs or anyone like that just behind the ball waiting and seeing what they give him. He's just getting right in their face as fast as he can, and I actually really like that willingness to just go attack the ball and force them to outplay you. His timing so far, he's been pretty excellent with it.
Oh,
that just dropped in?
It's a fake. The respect is there from Atomic on the backboard. He's assuming somebody is going to get a touch on this. AJ was right behind the ball. Or no, excuse me, it was Riddles behind the ball. And I mean, you have to respect that, right? If you're Atomic on the backboard.
That's wild. I mean, I certainly don't think he's just going to let it go, because why would it be in, right?
Well, I mean, you've got a chance. It could have been an opportunity for Riddles to smack it off the backboard and go for the pass.
Yeah.
I guess it's the illusion that works out. All tied up, 34 to go. D2 were dominant the entire time, and just at the end of it, it looks like OpTic could steal things.
Nice little back pass from Atomic, focused on control, but look at AJ. Oh gosh, he says I'm challenging you already.
Why does that work? That's crazy.
You never see him coming. Either way, G2 still hang onto the ball. Atomic not able to quite jam this one through a couple defenders, and again, Magic Bear just making that Finnick do some good work in the challenge game for him.
Atomic.
Last chance, air dribble hard off the wall, too tight for Chicago, lets it go for JNAP, slips off the nose, and now you gotta defend a potential counterattack here. They get right in AJ's face, and he can't quite get back to it. Once again, the safety of the floor is there, and a reset for another overtime.
Smacked into the ground, and this is actually a good kickoff now for G2 as they opted to go on the right side, and a ground pitch opportunity for JNAPs.
All bounced him.
It looked threatening, but the ball actually did respond. It was the one to pitch JNAPs out.
Unfortunately, sometimes you find
AJ's there, AJ's there.
Well. Oh, Denny kept it out, but can you stop Magic Bear? No! The hammer is driven home. Push the nail through the wood. OpTic Gaming cracked G2.
Such a good idea, too, for Magic Bear to put it back into the midfield. I think he could have gone for a solo shot. And it wasn't the best approach on the initial hit. But the fact that you've got the power, you're forcing the defender to dive at it, and then the follow-up will be that much easier. OpTic Gaming, they are on a tear. It didn't look pretty good for them almost the entire game, but with about 35 seconds left, they got that first goal, and it was smooth sailing since the Chiefs.
Now that's the wild one, though. +6 shot differential there for G2. That's 12 for G2, only 6 for OpTic. A tough day at the office when you're Atomic and you get 6 shots on target. Only one of them finds the net. Granted, again, that OpTic defense, it's been tough. Still no timeout called for G2. They feel confident. They were like, you know what? We know what we're getting.
Yeah. It's one thing to take a timeout when you feel like you're not getting any chances, but I mean, you're out here putting up 12 shots. You definitely have the chances. You have those opportunities. And that has been a big theme for today. A lot of teams struggling to get through the defense and put up quality opportunities. It's not just been, or excuse me, it has just been Atomic going up by himself. I haven't seen too much support from JNAPS in Chicago, who might be busy taking boosts and trying to get back in rotation. And we'll see if that can change now for G2 for what seems like a difficult and uphill battle as they face an OpTic Gaming on match point.
Yeah, and you really want, a little more intentionality behind those touches on offense, but you got to give a lot of credit. Oh, okay, Atomic straight to the corner, and he steals the boost. Okay, there is a plan here. Does it
we're looking
bear
good.
fruit? Not this time. AJ composed on the goal line, but they're not out of the woods yet. Chicago, nice pinch through to keep the pressure up, and now they're stealing all the boost. Now they say, hang on, can you operate in a tight spot? Yes, you can. They find a demo dumped into the middle, and there's Magic Bear again. That dude just breaks everything up.
At first, it was Reddles getting all the demos to ruin G2. And at this moment in time, it's Magic Bear winning 50-50s, always in the right place at the right time. And it's been a fundamental game, I think, for OpTic. I haven't seen too much fancy approaches on the offensive side. If anything, it's only going to be from AJ right now. He's going for solo plays, but his teammates, Reddles and Magic Bear, are doing a lot of that dirty work.
Just have that good timing on those challenges. Force them to make a play off
just like that.
Identify the
That's
space.
it. That's
Look
it.
at Reynolds pick apart the defense. Look at him look this one as he comes in. He's like, okay, totally open backboard. Don't overthink it. Just rip it up there. AJ will go and get it. You don't overthink it. It's like, there's the space. Put the ball there. Good things happen.
Well, and that's all three players. It's not just Reddles finding the backboard where it's wide open. You have Magic Bear, who absolutely had an opportunity to put on a better shot or go for a solo play, but he just wanted to get a better 50-50. OpTic are working selfless and now are even better off the backboard. Defense showing up, offense showing up. OpTic Gaming finding their stride unless things can end quickly from JNAPS, and it's denied.
Now that is a beautiful pass down, I will say, but unfortunately just took too long to develop. All of them figured it out, and the tight support from AJ finds a second goal for OpTic.
They've cracked the code. They've downloaded G2 on match point in game number 6. I thought it was going to go 6 games, but I did not expect OpTic Gaming to be the ones taking charge and being this proficient with all of the fundamentals, the 50-50s, the striking, and of course the timing on the challenges that you've been mentioning a lot of, Chiefs.
Long way to go. 3.5 minutes can feel like an eternity, especially because, now that G2's out of lives, now they're going to throw something at you. And then, like you were saying, Turtle, then it becomes that very fundamental game. Are you playing sound positionally? Are you making sure that if you go for something, you're at least making contact? That's really all it has to be right now for OpTic. If you go, hit the ball or hit them, and you're likely going to win this game just by nature of time.
And I still believe that the initial wave of demos that we saw from Reddles earlier on in this series is what punctured a lot of the offense out of G2, who predominantly rely on passing to each other, getting touches between everyone. And now we're just seeing solo plays like this from Chicago. They're not looking for each other. Look at Atomic. That's another air dribble into the sky. A solo play. Where's he going? Chicago isn't even an outlet pass because he's covered by everybody on OpTic Gaming. This is not the typical G2 that we know and love. And they're getting denied in every category. Another solo air dribble from G2, gone the other way.
So then maybe G2's game plan, normally attacking down the center tends to be the best way to go because it gives you the most options in terms of where to move the ball, but maybe G2 might be better off attacking from the side just so they're forced to get that ball moving in towards the middle into a more scoreable position. And there it is. Dump into the middle, but no one's there. JNaps, excuse me. He's playing deep support in case that challenge went wrong, and that's the thing. G2's just been losing the challenge game straight up.
So even whenever that pass comes out into the midfield, you've got a third man who's not expecting it. Things are just not going well for G2. And certainly an understatement. But there's plenty of time. 1 minute and 30 on the clock. I mean, of course, you've got to move with urgency, but
imagine that when
got a chance. You know, the last thing you want if you're G2 is a ground pinch goal.
Ground pinch off of
a car.
Of their teammate, yeah. Then you just be like, all right, you can have it.
That's when you put the controller up for a little bit, but didn't happen. They're still in it, and they've got 2 goals to go with Chiefs.
Spread out, G2. You need passing options to make sure you all don't drive out into the same corner, trying to make the same play. Nice
Good
dump
shot.
forward with a lot of pace on it, but from so far down the pitch. AJ able to size it up. Extra little pop. Surprise, surprise. Ripped right side, and JNaps will collect.
We've got G2 looking to go into the midfield. Get bumped if you're AJ.
Unlucky.
Atomic found you, and then JNaps cleans up. Great work. 50 seconds. It's not over, Chiefs.
You make a nice play like that, you feel like you bump Atomic, and he just tips the ball one more time and throws Magic Bear off the scent completely.
Oh, man. AJ could have ended it there, but I don't think he had the boost to get under the ball. And this is it. This is it for G2. One of these next few transitions has to yield some kind of result.
Magic Bear doing his best, just getting in their face. Everyone comes up empty for G2, but it's actually a bit of an awkward catch for OpTic. Metals will just go straight down the field. Not a lot of thought to it. It is dump the ball for the clock's sake. There's Magic Bear trying to buy some time. Atomic, can you get back to it? Looking for help. There's Chicago. AJ's all over it. Such good awareness to know where the shot's coming from, when to arrive, but their last chance is here. Turtle out to Atomic, looking for Chicago. It's going to get stolen away by Reddles.
Oh, it's still up.
This one is forced to get punted straight off the corner. JNaps is stretching. Atomic is over there for some reason. He keeps it alive.
Here we go.
Chicago, drop pass. Magic Bear smashes it to the floor. The guy's been at the right place at the right time for 15 minutes straight. So why not one more go and just crush G2 out of this tournament?